So I wanted to talk to you while I was doing my walk today and just encourage you and just share with you some of the reasons why I love to encourage my viewers. First is because I understand. Y'all, it was so many times where I was feeling left behind, overlooked, feeling like a failure, feeling like whatever I was doing was too small to count. And it's not true. It's just not true. And so that's where my motivation comes from. I definitely want you guys to just know small starts, small steps are big wins. And the more you do them, they continually build up. It gets you where you're going, right? So don't discount small steps. Don't discount yourself. I spent so many years just feeling like my timing was off, I was off, I wasn't gonna get to where I wanted to be. I share a lot about how I was fired twice in the same year and how that led to me just feeling like inadequate. Hold on, let me cross the street, child. You know, you got to look both ways crossing the street, even though it felt like it was clear. Let me make sure, okay, let me not be the one. Anyway, so what was I saying? So yeah, I spent time when I got fired, twice in 1 year, just feeling like, man, girl, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And it was just, um, it felt weird. I felt off. I kept trying to get a job. That's how I got fired twice. So I got fired because let me backpedal. So when I first started the job, I could sense, I could just feel God saying, this isn't what I want you to do, and this ain't gonna last long. So I knew going in to that job that it was gonna be temporary, but I did it anyway. Y'all, I stayed sick on that job. When I tell you I kept a sinus infection, I stayed sick. When I tell you I stayed sick so much, my husband was just kind of like, look, I don't know what's going on, but you too sick going up to this job. Even he started seeing it. He was like, you gonna have to let it go. And we were newlyweds, so it was like not the perfect time for me. It wasn't the newest of newlyweds. It was like year one, 1.5, but that's still newlywed, right? And so I just kept trying anyway, kept going, fired. Then I looked for another job. Found somebody who I knew through a mutual connection was just working hard, trying to do that job. And I couldn't keep up with the job. It was just really tedious and it was a lot of work. But it was a good job. It was a work from home job. Fired. And as soon as I got fired from that job, the company ended up getting the software that I would have needed to make the job easier and quicker and less tedious. So that's how I knew, right? That wasn't my job. I was just holding somebody's spot up. And so I ended up just feeling God lead me. I went back to school for my bachelor's. This was like Christian studies, and then I ended up getting a certificate in ministry leadership through the church that I attended at the time. And so that all aligned, but it took me a couple of years of fighting the feeling of being called to that because it didn't look like what I thought I would be doing at the time. So I just kept trying to do what I thought I should be doing. Anyway, also during this time, I'm getting winded, honey, because I'm walking up this hill. So I'm trying to talk and walk, which I don't often do. But we're going to get some practice. Anyway, and so during that time, I share also that I'm an adoptee. And so I ended up taking the space that I had in between volunteering and school to search for my birth family. And looking back, now I can see why I needed the time, why I needed the space. But when you're going through something, you don't always see it, right? You don't always see it. So I ended up searching for my birth family. I reconnected, and this was my mom's side, my birth mother's side, but my birth mom was not alive anymore. She had already passed, so I didn't get to meet her. So I had to deal with that, right? I didn't expect that. I dealt with that, but I also reconnected to my family. I met my mom's sisters, so my aunts, my uncles, cousins, my siblings, right? And so it was the perfect time for that because I didn't know this was coming. But 1 year after I reconnected with my birth family after I found them, after I was in community with them. My husband and I relocated. He took a job in another state, 13 hours away, and we was out. And so I'm sharing all that to say, often we don't understand the timing, the alignment. We don't understand why. We don't understand what's going on, right? And I had to learn how to just trust God, trust my path, trust the journey, stop looking at what other people thought I should be doing, stop looking at other people because they ain't living my life. I said I was adopted. They weren't adopted. I said I had to find my birth mother. They didn't have to go find their birth mom, whoever it was. I had to really understand. Quit comparing. Don't compare anybody's life to yours. Nobody, because everybody is unique. So anyway, during that time, like I said, I didn't realize it. We moved. If I hadn't just stopped fighting it, if I had just kept fighting the timing, I don't know if I would have found my birth family before I left, right? Y'all, it was significant, but I just did not realize it at the time. So anyway, these are just some of the thoughts on my mind right now. I'm walking and I was like, let me start walking and talking, right? Because when I walk, I think a lot. I get perspective. I get insight that I normally wouldn't have. That's another reason I encourage y'all to walk, because listen, walking is life changing. You can think, you can clear your head, you can walk in the park, you can walk down the street, you can walk around your house. Just take a little path, you can walk. And the movement, I think, the movement, and I'm sure it's scientific study behind this, it's different and it helps you to, I don't know, clear your mind. It just makes you, clear your thoughts. Sometimes I think it's because, you can look up at the sky. The sky is so expansive. It's so spacious. You can breathe deeper, you know, especially if you in a park or if you somewhere that's got some trees, a lot of trees. Now you getting fresh air, even if it's not a lot of trees. You just getting fresh air when you step outside and you walk. So I like to encourage you to take your walks every day, even if it's 10 minutes. Take you a 10-minute clarity thought walk. It helps. Every little bit helps. And that's my point. My whole point, everything I share is about not discounting small, not discounting little things, not discounting yourself. Quit discounting yourself. I spent so long discounting me, thinking my contributions weren't big enough, weren't grand enough, comparing it to other people, when the whole time I didn't need to be doing that. I needed to be focusing on me, my path, of course, cheering for others, celebrating others, but not overly focused. So I just wanted to encourage you with this word. I hope the wind wasn't too much on this video because it was windy for a second. Plus, I'm winded, honey. Hit a couple of them hills, honey. I hit a couple of hills. But anyway, but I kept walking, kept trying to talk. Just want to bring you this encouraging word. Y'all have a good day.